Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Finish More Music podcast. So I thought I would kick this one off with a great quote. Art is never finished, only abandoned. So that's our man Leonardo da Vinci. And this is a really important quote because when you think about it, it does bring somewhat of a challenge up that creatives face. And that's to say, how do you know when it's time to abandon your art? How do you know when it's time to double underline it and say it's done, it's finished, it's time to ship it out of the door? Well, one great hint for this could be Parkinson's law. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So when we combine these two things together, what we can say is that if art can theoretically be a never-ending process of adding more and more and more and changing more and more and more, it must be clear that one answer to cap this never-ending, ever-changing piece of artwork is to set an amount of time in order to complete it. So, in short, the word that we're looking at here, which strikes terror into the fear of most creative people's hearts, is the word deadline. A self-imposed deadline. If art can technically go forever and ever and ever and it's never finished, there's never a point in which we can identify it's finished. Instead, it's got to be abandoned. And if we know that that work will expand to fill the time available for its completion, a self-imposed deadline must surely be one possible solution to this conundrum. And I can hear you now. But Keith, you don't understand. I still need to adjust this. I need to tweak that. I need to record the other one. I need to just cajole, change, replace. There's always something else to do, right? It's so easy to say, oh, but listen, it's not ready yet. It's not ready to call it finished. Perfectionists unite against the terror of the deadline. And I get it, right? There's just that extra opportunity to make it better with just one more change. Just one more change, then one more, then one more, then one more. And this really is ensconced in this fear that the quality of your art will decline if you spend less time on it. Now, of course, there comes a point where that is true. But most people expect that longer automatically equals better. More time to make changes, to adjust, to manipulate, to do one more thing will equal the track being better. And if that time's taken away, those extra hours and hours and hours, then the quality of the art will decline. Well, is that right? Well, actually, in my experience, no, it's not right under any circumstances. I'm going to give you an example of this. A group of members inside of my community, the Finish More Music community, decided to undertake the 30-30 challenge. This is finishing 30 tracks in 30 days. So one track a day for an entire month. And they did this and they shared their takeaways in the community. And we thought, you know what, it'd be a great idea to do a masterclass. We'll get the guys on, we'll do a round table. The community can ask questions. They can explain their process. Everyone had a different process. What did it look like? What happened as a result? And of course, one of the questions was, well, didn't you notice the quality of your music decreasing as a result of having to finish one track a day? And the answer was no. Not only did we not notice the quality decreasing, we noticed the quality increasing. So the deadlines that they imposed actually led to an increase in quality. And they discovered that working without judgment and working without the ability to second guess the decisions they were making also increase the originality of their ideas. They have more varied, more original ideas, and they judge the quality of the ideas and the music that they finished, technical, jiggery pokery, the full piece, compositional quality, everything, to be better. So with that pushed to one side, what other benefits might there be from this? Well, it's also great practice working to a deadline for when you start to step into the professional side of the game, when you start to release your music, when you start to have labels out there that are going to be imposing deadlines. Hey, we need this done by then. We need these changes, these tweaks. What about if you get a remix opportunity? That's almost certainly coming with a deadline. And if you are well versed in working to a deadline, you're going to be comfortable with this. It's going to be easier for you to deliver. Now, again, talking of masterclasses, I'm actually recording this the day after an excellent masterclass that we had in the community from one of our members, one of our long-standing established members, incredibly smart guy, Scott Sturgis. He produces under the name Lie Society. If you're into your banging techno, check it out. You can catch him TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, the full works. Releases loads of music, fantastic techno music, and he's writes all sorts of other music as well. He's well versed in hip hop and all sorts of things. Anyway, he was doing a masterclass. He was talking about mix downs and he was talking about remixing. He's a fantastic mixing engineer as well. He's sharing lots of secrets around processing and bus processing and all of these things so that the members could learn to increase the sonic quality of their music. And he was sharing a remix, and it was a really cool remix. It was actually a hip-hop tune, and he'd been tasked with remixing it into a techno tune. And people got talking to him about how do you pick up more remix work. And here's one of the things that he said: be professional, be in integrity, and hit the deadline with your music and with your remixes. And he was literally saying, it was not that long ago, very recently, that I actually had a label reach out to me and say, hey, can you do this remix for me? Because we'd given it to someone else, they had a deadline to do it, and they've missed the deadline. And Scott looked at his calendar and said, how long do I have? And they said, 2 days. 2 days, we need to get this out now. So he looked at his calendar and he said, yeah, leave it with me. And he did it. Now, what do you imagine is going to happen with that other artist? The label going to trust them again? They were left in the lurch. They were left with 2 days to find someone to do it. So who are they going to go to in future? Who are they going to offer these opportunities to? It's a no-brainer, right? Scott's going to get them every single time. So it's great to build your ability to hit deadlines, to practice this, to get used to it. And it's also really, really useful for collaborations, because nobody likes to work with a flake. Nobody does. Nobody wants to collaborate with someone who doesn't return the music, doesn't return the communication, isn't hitting the deadlines. And I've spoken time and time again on this podcast about the power of collaborating. You build the skills that you learn from other people. You see their workflows. You feed your muse and learn to work in original ways. You build relationships, connections that can go on and serve you well. You may well create releasable music, get access to new labels. Collaborations are dynamite. They're so, so important. So getting used now to being someone who's able to be reliable and in integrity to deadlines and able to turn out the music and complete your section of the project in the time that you said you would, wow, what a superpower to have. And you can start learning that now by bringing deadlines into your work. Now here's something else that I discovered, and I coined this phrase that perfectionism cannot live where integrity does. So let me say that again. This would be a really good phrase for your notes. Perfectionism cannot live where integrity does. So integrity means to be a person of your word, to be accountable to your word. So if you say you will get something done, either to other people, as we've just talked about labels and we've talked about collaborations, or if you say it to yourself, you'll be held accountable and you'll get it done. So think about that. If you set a deadline and you hold yourself accountable to it, you be in integrity to it, there's no possibility for perfectionism here. You can't keep kicking the can down the road and tweaking and messing about and second guessing. It needs to be done, just like the guys who did the 30-30 challenge. It needs to be done. And if you are someone who struggles with personal accountability, one way to build that up is to start with public accountability. Just get good at being held accountable. Now, this is something we do every single quarter inside of FMM, not least because we do collaboration challenges and things like that, but we have something called the Finish More Music Impact Goals, and it's a unique goal setting structure that I created that helps our members to have impact with their music. And impact means getting their music out into the world, whether it's via releases or competitions or DJs playing it, but being able to give people that amazing gift of creativity. You never know, right, when you're going to write a piece of music, how that's going to touch someone. It could just be brightening their day. It could be giving them an unforgettable memory, part of an amazing night out. Or it could be the song, the track that gives them the bug for electronic music or even for production. Could change someone's life forever. It certainly did mine. In fact, two people, a group of people, I've talked about it before. Random molecular motion, learn more about the nature of energy. They didn't know that at the time, but you never know how deep your impact will go. So we have these goals that are set to a deadline, and the members stay in integrity to that deadline. And that's around how much music they're going to finish and get out into the world. There is no room for perfectionism. Now, there's one more benefit that's kind of a hidden benefit here that you might not think about. The other things, may have seemed quite obvious to you, but this one's really, really important. If you set a deadline and you work towards it, it brings into clear focus the inefficiencies in the way that you work, where you waste time and the things that are blocks for you. So I'll give you an example. Maybe you realise you're doing something over and over again in a very inefficient way. And so perhaps it's the settings of the EQ you use. And you say, oh, right, so I need to dial those in and save them as a preset. Maybe it's something else that requires you to think a little bit more. So maybe you spot things that are kind of bottlenecks in your workflow, and you're then going to be forced to come up with innovative solutions and elegant solutions to overcome them. Additionally, it's amazing how quickly it brings into focus the places that you waste the most time. You will very quickly spot if you are on your 500th hi-hat in the track and you're still tweaking and still flicking through to get the perfect ever. You'll quickly go, my gosh, I've spent 20% of my time in this session messing about with hi-hats. That's going to be brought into one hell of a focus for you. You find that you become very impatient with your own time-wasting activities and these bottlenecks, and you'll find solutions. So you become a more efficient worker. Your workflow improves, so you're able to finish music more quickly at a higher quality to meet the deadlines as a result of this. So in short, in summary, deadlines are your friend and not your foe. Rather than something that may initially strike fear into your heart and may bring you to believe that the quality of your music will suffer, you're actually going to find that all the benefits are completely in the other direction. An increase in quality, more creative ideas, better prepared for professional environments, more reliable in collaborations, less susceptible to perfectionism, and you'll end up with a more efficient workflow as a result of it. My gosh, and the actual huge mega benefit, you're going to have a bigger portfolio of music to show for yourself. What is there not to love about deadlines? So I hope you found that useful. Do hit me up on Instagram if something stood out to you, something really resonated with you, if you feel this is going to have an impact for you. I'd absolutely love to receive your feedback. It's at I am Keith Mills. Hit me up with a DM. I promise you I will read it, and I promise you I will get back to it. I never miss a beat with these. Show notes, finishmoremusic.com/164. I hope you enjoyed the show. Do take care, and until next time, happy music making.